I'm a member of the election subcommittee. Also with us today is Vice President of Legislation Brad Borges, who's the chair of the subcommittee as well as chair of legislation. Speaker of the ICC, Asia Reed, who's also a member of the subcommittee, and advisor Leticia, who's also here. And I want to say thank you to Jesus, who is going to be recording for us. And I also want to thank John for trusting us with his equipment, because this is going to be a major help for us getting this out to the students. So just so you know, this is going to be recorded. It's going to be posted on YouTube. So I encourage all of you to, absolutely make use of that as you spread the word of the campaigns. The format is going to be as follows. So pay attention. At the beginning, each of you who are running will make 2-minute speeches. This is basically your opportunity to introduce yourself, what you're running for, and what you want to do. That's basically it. It's just so we have a basic knowledge of who you are. For many of you who are running unopposed, that is likely going to be the most of what you get. For those of you who are running for contested seats, and in which case both of the contesting parties are here, and from what I can see, that's certainly the case for the presidential candidates. One of the EVP candidates is two of them are missing. The vice president for finance candidates, so you get vice president for legislation candidates are both here. So there will be some more substantive questions, which I have, and we will also take questions from the audience, also known as the other candidates, apparently. So we will get started in about 30 seconds. So please, if you could, try to find seats more to the middle so it looks like people actually came.
Middle.
That candidates also?
Middle. Yes,
Yes.
Everybody. Middle.
Come on over.
Brad, how long are you staying till? How long are you staying till? Oh, okay.
I have a few things I have to get done.
You left it in good hands. James is here.
So you just get started.
Well, you too.
Yeah. So
This is how we do it for FFA stuff. You say, when you step up to the microphone, you have 2 minutes. At a minute 45, I will step forward, and at 2 minutes, you'll be removed.
yeah.
All right.
And when we get to the contestant
So
seats,
really quick, again, with those of you that don't know me, my name is Brad Borges. I am the elections subcommittee chairman. I have to dash today. I didn't realize that there's a lot of scholarships that are due tomorrow that I have to get done.
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted to say thank you for all of you that have come. I think this will be a really great thing, especially getting it recorded, and hopefully we'll be able to spread the word out to all the students so they can view what you guys have to say. Remember, in your two-minute spiel, you are doing this for the students, and they want to know why. And so this is the best. You're not going to be able to meet every single person face to face that is going to be voting for you, but this is the next best thing. So that's kind of how I want you to take it. Is that if I was coming up to you and I was asking you, hey, what would you want to change in ASMJC? What would you want to change at Modesto Junior College as a whole? How would you be able to answer that quickly, efficiently, and the steps in which you take? So other than that, thank you very much. I appreciate all of you for coming, and I hope to look back at this as a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Okay, so just to clarify, build on that, I'm going to get a roster of the candidates, and I'm going to take a quick scan to make sure I know who all is here, so I know what's contested or not. When we get to the contested candidates after we've done the 2-minute speeches, they will take seats here at this table, and I will grill them with questions as though I'm an investigative reporter for BBC. I'll even use the accent. No. And I will also then take questions from the audience. So are we all on the same page on that? And then I just want to emphasize this as well. You're not just good people, you're super good people, which means, and I'm not saying that ironically this time, what that means is that when you are discussing matters or you're talking, that you're going to keep it as positive as possible, and that we're not going to resort to personal attacks. Right? Air pinky promise, or I will find you and destroy you. All right, so just to make sure, just wave, so I know that you're here. Tommy Ledesma and Luis Robledo? Or Tommy's here. Okay, Roxanne Weaver and Alex Acosta?
Right here.
Kyle Brown and Mary Hernandez? And I know Mary has a club meeting. Will she be joining us later?
5:30, as soon as she get out.
Okay, so I will we'll have to proceed without her then. Mr. Jonathan Andrews, Mr. Jason Laughlin, Mr. Jose Russell, Allison Wilbers, Kathy Rao. Oh, what a thought. Okay. Ken Lampkin, Jacob Cook. Okay. Amber Suniga. Okay. Paige Tengaluk.
Hey.
Evita Waltz. Don't cry for me. Sorry. Rodrigo Gomez. I saw him. Ariana Ramirez. Manisha Prasad. Okay. Stephanie Pierce. Jose Alvarez. Okay. Lorenza Figueroa. Maria Mondragon. Or Mondragon. How? Okay. Aurora Wells. Dana Avery. William Tumblin. And Bradley Machado. No, okay. So the way I'm going to break this down, just so you know, is after we do all of the 2-minute speeches, we will then go to a couple of kind of debate-style questions, and those will go from bottom up. So the way it'll work is that if Mr. Alvarez is able to join us, it means that the first up for the debate will be Mr. Alvarez and Ms. Figueroa, and then we will finish with the presidential candidates. Good? Awesome. All right, so if I could, and actually we will start from the bottom and work our way up. So Mr. Tumblin. And just so you know, your 2 minutes will start from the time that the first noise leaves your mouth once you're at the podium.
Hold on, really quick. I got this.
So if you have to sneeze, hold it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Tumblin, and I'm running for Student Financial Services. This is a passion of mine to make sure that each student is represented positively when it comes to our financial services, financial aid here on campus. Most student goes through college not knowing that they have like 600% of financial aid. They use up that financial aid way before it's time for them to get to a 4-year university. So with this position, I'm thinking that I can be able to help the students become more familiar with that. Not only that, is when it's time to do appeals, most students would drop out of school because the first appeal letter they get is denied. And they don't know they have a second appeal that they can go over the appeal. So it's my obligation that I feel that I'm able to show the students how to write those appeals, as well as keeping those appeals coming so that they can stay in school. Because in order for them to be successful students, this is one area that most students are not successful in because they're having to not have financial aid.
No, you have 21 seconds.
So vote for me. So I ask you guys to vote for me as a student of financial services as senator.
Applause is more than welcome. In this case, no heckling unless it's for me. I know that there are some people who might have questions for candidates running unopposed, and I'll ask that we hold those until we've gone through all of the introductory speeches, okay? All right, so next up is Ms. Wells here? Ms. Wells, you're up.
Yay.
Excuse my nervousness. Ladies and gentlemen of the student body of MJC, I, Aurora Wells, if elected, vow to do all that is within my capability to enhance the experience of every student attending this college, with special emphasis on the math, science, and engineering department. Having met with the dean of this department last week, we were able to discuss ways to better improve it from the point of view of a senator. Things like making aware to the student body the resources offered by the Science Community Center were conversed. These resources have valuable time and money invested into them, and that should not be taken for granted. Dean Sanders also expressed to me the desire for a celebratory ceremony in commemoration of the students who aided in the placing of Foucault's pendulum next to the Science Community Center. If elected, I will do everything in my capability to make this happen. The Science, Math, and Engineering department is one that I hold dear to my heart, for it is the department encompassing my major. Being a STEM major, I would not want anything less than a senator who cares to represent the department and who promises to do everything within his or her power to improve it. Not just for myself, not just for 1 or 2 students, but for every student, present and future, involved with the Science, Math, and Engineering department. Thank you for your time and attention, and good luck to every one of you.
You're all doing so good at staying under the time limit, I don't have to yell at anybody yet. This makes me sad. Is Maria Mondragon here? I forgot to note. All right, that brings us to Lorenza Figueroa.
Hello everybody, my name is Lorenza Figueroa. I'm running for Senator of Diversity. So there's one thing that I see on campus that really bothers me, and I see the lack of diversity, especially cultural diversity. So something that I want to bring that cultural diversity. I want to let students know that their culture matters. They could come to me, any ideas, event, culture that they would like to see on campus, I'll make it happen. I also know in regards to Hispanics, we're an Hispanic serving institution, and we get $800,000 just for STEM students. So imagine for general. And it also covers low-income students. So I want to bring something in regards of where does that money go, and especially to those low-income students and those students that are, misrepresented. So thank you, and vote for me, Lorenza Figueroa.
Next. I could have sworn I finished puberty. Rodrigo Gomez.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rodrigo Gomez. As some of you may know, I am a former senator, and I'd like to take a moment and explain to you guys that the experience I gained from being in the Senate really did put a light on what goes on behind the scenes here at MJC, how the students serve or attempt to serve other students. But these last few months, pretty much these last 2 semesters, I haven't been in student government, and that's shed quite a lot of, that's given me a whole bunch of perspective on what it is that I can do as a senator, if elected, to truly help and benefit the students, not just say the 2% that voted last election, which happened to be the biggest election that we have had here at MJC, but the entirety of the students here at MJC. Please vote for Rodrigo Gomez. Thank you.
Want me to call the names, James? and
Yes,
stay out there?
please, so I don't have to do this back and forth. Next is Paige Tengeluk.
Okay.
Just do you, boo-boo.
Okay. Sorry, I had to.
Good evening, guys. Okay, so I'm current senator for the Literature and Language Arts Department. And during my term, I realized that a lot of students there are so many personal issues that people bring to the student senate government that is not necessary. And I feel like students are not really represented properly because they pay their money for their classes, and I feel like they're not getting the benefits that they should be getting. And so I'm running for Art, Humanities, and Communications. And I know that the division serves the surrounding community by providing quality performing and visual arts experiences for audiences both young and experienced. And I have not seen that. So I want to bring those back and implement ideas so we could have a more successful student target rate and be able to be better communication for incoming and outgoing students as a whole. So please vote for me because you know you want to. Thank you.
All right, so next we have Amber Sangria? Suniga, sorry. It looks like my mind's somewhere else right now.
Sunia. Sorry. Oh,
Hi everyone. My
My name is Amber Suniga, and I'm running for the Senator of Arts, Humanities, and Communications. I hear a lot of things that being a senator can bring to you, and as a first-year student, I think that's something that I might want to pursue. I don't have a lot of experience, like I said, but I'm hoping this might give me some, and I want to get to know everybody, and I do mean everybody, you, and everybody else who's watching this, and I just did that, sorry. So vote for me for Senator of Arts, Humanities, and Communications. Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to the executive seats. We first have Jacob Cook. He's not here. Ken Lampkin.
How you guys doing? First off, I'd like to say, no matter what happens, I think we're going to do great next year because everybody I see here I know is involved with the students. I see you on campus, so no matter what, I think we're going to do great next year. What I bring to the table is I got 25, 30 years experience in activities like this. I've been a member of 2 Chamber of Commerces. I was the district area manager of Chili's, which I did all kinds of events in every city of Stockton, Sacramento, Vacaville, Fairfield. Putting on events I'm very good at, so I can guarantee all you guys, whatever events you guys decide to do, promotions, I'm in direct contact with radio stations, restaurants in the area, so no matter what we do next year, I guarantee success in every one of your guys' activities, including, you know, the Halloween thing. But, so, again, vote for Ken Lampkin because I guarantee all your activities will go off with a great success.
Thank you. Our next executive is Kathy Rao. Okay, so she chooses not to speak right now. Our next one is Allison Wilberts.
You walk this way. I'm a walking billboard. so we're on camera. So I think I know everybody here. My name's Allison Wilbers. I definitely have experience, mature student here. I'm running for the Vice President of Finance, and with that, I've been a previous member of the Finance Committee, previous Senator of Special Programs, the ICC speaker for last year. I'm currently the President of the Geology Club and the Secretary for the Child Development Club. I'm an honors student, and also I was the Executive Secretary for the SSCCC. For those of you that don't know, Student Senate for California Community Colleges. I've taken Math 105, 121, and I'm currently in 134. So I have plenty of math experience. I have plenty of accounting experience. I've taken an accounting class. I'm also a Girl Scout leader. And you laugh, but that is big because I was a cookie manager and our troops sold $27,000 worth of cookies. So I had to handle all of that money. So I'm very well qualified in that area. My goal as VP of Finance, thank you, is to work with and for the students and to provide accountability for the money, the large amounts of money that we have, and spend it wisely.
All right, our next speaker will be Jose Razo. You want to come all the way
here? Okay. So, hi fellow students. My name is Jose Razo. I'm running for Vice President of Finance. One reason is that is my major. I'm going for accounting, and I believe I would do a fine job as I am studying for that currently. What I want to do is do hard work, transparency, and teamwork. That being said, I will do my best to get the job done, keep everyone informed on the budget, previous, current, and the one after a monthly basis. I will work hard with Mr. Lampkin to have events going on every week or month, and also I wanted to say what was it? I will do my best to do it, and if I can't do it, I will step down as finance. And yeah, God bless you guys, and God bless America. Well, for also for finance.
All right, so our next executive would be Jason Laughlin, sorry.
Hello, everyone. I appreciate those who showed up. It's nice to see that some students are concerned about the future of our campus. I'm Jason Laughlin, and I'm running for Vice President of Legislation. I'm running because I believe that I can represent the student body at MJC better. I want the students to feel that they have a voice on campus, which I feel is lacking currently. I believe that the student fees that we pay should make their way back to the students with more diverse things in our culture. I want the students to want to be here. I want them to like this campus and enjoy it, instead of 10 years down the road say, I loathe that campus and I did not like it. I can represent you better because I can relate to you. I know our concerns and our issues. There are a ton of needs from the students that aren't being met or are simply being ignored. I'm someone who will not buckle down under pressure and who will carry through on his word and honor his word. I do not break my promises. So let every student know, whether he wishes me well or ill, that I shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, and oppose any foe, in order to assure the representation and success of every student on this campus. I will represent you to the best of my ability. This is my mission, and I will complete it. Thank you.
I knew it. Okay. All right, next we have Jonathan Andrews.
That was good. I knew where you got it too. Why are you being racist?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jonathan Andrews. I am the current student senator for Arts, Humanities, and Communications. It's good to see that there are some people who are willing to step up and who are going to be taking over from my position. I am running for Vice President of Legislation. There are a lot of things that over this last year that have not been addressed legislatively wise. We have not gone over a lot of the bills that need to be addressed. We have not discussed a lot of legislative things that need to be addressed. One thing that I definitely am looking forward to looking into is possibly the possibility of electronic voting for the next elections, which would make things a lot easier on us. But most of all, the students are the top priority. No matter what happens, no matter what decisions need to be made, the students need to come first. They always have been and always will be first, because without students, MJC would cease to exist. So with that being said, I will do everything that I can in my power, as I have done this last year, I will do for the next year, should I be elected, is to do what I can and will do for the students. Because they are our top priority, because as I said, without them, we are nothing. And in closing, I leave you with this quote. It was Malcolm Bain who said, if you wait until you can do everything for everybody instead of something for somebody, you'll end up not doing nothing for nobody. So I want to step in and do something for somebody. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to the presidential candidates. Mary is still not here. All right, so we'll do Kyle Brown, or you want to do both of them together? Okay, yeah, so go ahead, Kyle.
Hello, everyone. Let me start by giving a word from Mary. She's sorry that she could not be here right now. She's out there with the honor students, being the president of Alpha Gamma Sigma, running her club and taking care of the students, which we have put towards our priority. So she does extend that apology to you guys here today. So my name is Kyle Brown. I'm running for the presidential seat here at Modesto Junior College. I have worked my way up from senator to vice president and hopefully next to be president. I feel that our school has failed in the sense of putting people before politics. We have homeless students, veterans that are suffering and not getting what they need. We have people going hungry for not only substantial food, but knowledge, and we need to fix that. We need to make a change that actually means something to the students. We need to be more of a power than just a bank account. We need to put our students out there and say, hey, we are actually here for you. We're not just here to pay for what you want to do, but we're here to support you on local, state, national levels, and to actually let them know that they have us and that everyone in this room presents some type of morale or pride, and everyone here is a great leader and will move on to be a great leader. And I feel that as the president, I could support you guys wholly, and we could move on as a team and make a difference together. Thank you.
All right, next we have Alex Acosta and Roxanne Weaver. So both of you guys together.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Roxanne Weaver, and I am your next year's presidential candidate. And I currently am the executive vice president for ASMJC. I'm also president of Phi Theta Kappa, which is the Honor Society on campus. I am an intern for the MJC Head Start Lab. I work in the office and I specifically look over paperwork, and I'm a reviewer in the process of learning. So I do a lot of detailed work when it comes to paperwork process. This is one of the areas of change that I think is very, very important that needs to happen. And as your president, I would look into ways to create process, not just have the opportunities to be leaders, but how do we take those opportunities and become creative, matched with process that works, that can be utilized by students, many diverse clubs. Right now, only a few clubs know the pathway to get connected to the monies to come on campus and do some amazing things. We need to open that door wide open and allow more students that opportunity. We need to have a clear process so that when new clubs come in and new officers and advisors and administrators, that we can be on the same page, that we can have a memorandum of understanding between departments, between clubs, between officers, senators, vice presidents, that we work together as a team. Right now, I see individuals. Some are excelling, that's great, but I don't think it should be at the cost of others who are failing. And they're not failing because they're not trying. They are trying, they are putting effort in. They are great students, but this process is broke. It is broke, and it needs to be fixed. And I believe my skills as a reviewer, my multiple degrees in advocacy for children and families, I can talk. You guys know that. I can talk. But I do it in a way that's respectful, that's kind, that upholds the participatory process that is our student government. If you're the minority today, I may be the minority tomorrow, and I should have the ability to say what I feel and what I think and represent those thoughts, even if you disagree. I should never feel afraid or feel that some kind of website or an onslaught of people should come against me. We should have participatory government that says that the majority is moving the business along, but the minority always can be heard and respected. I thank you, and I hope that on next week on elections days that you come to vote, that you will vote for me, Roxanne Weaver, as your next year's president for ASMJC. Thank you.
Can you clarify that? Shared. Yeah, it's shared, so.
Do I really? Short and sweet, Alex Acosta, Senator now, vote for Acosta and Weaver. Bam.
Bring that down a little bit, I'm short. All right, our next candidates are Luis Rabieta and Tommy Ledesma.
Chair
Quick question. So there's only 2 minutes for the both of us?
Yes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yeah, nudger.
I promise. Since there was this confusion on that, I will allocate 3 minutes, and then if they wish, the executive vice presidential candidates may come back with 1 minute apiece.
Ask yourself, what is my success? In other words, what does it take to be a successful student? In order for any student to be successful, they first need to overcome obstacles that are set before them. But if there are too many obstacles, the student may stop before they can even get started. So here are some of the things that I've implemented to help students become more successful. 1, feeding the hungry students of our campus by opening a food pantry. 2, veteran homelessness. Currently, we are pairing outside sources with MJC veteran resources to address homeless vets and housing. 3, transportation. We are currently seeking grants to provide bus and gas vouchers for students who need help getting to and from school. 4, books. We are also seeking grants to provide book vouchers to help students who need books. 5, childcare. We've started a petition and a proposal to bring back childcare to MJC. We know that if parents do not have childcare, they won't return to class and they might not even return to school. So if we bring back childcare, we can bring back the student and improve their success. And finally, free automotive services. I've started a petition to help bring free automotive services to the students of MJC by the students of MJC. The only fees the students will have to pay are the price of the parts and the waste disposal fees that they may incur. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tommy Ledesma, and as your president, student success will be my priority. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Luis Rebolledo. When it comes down to the vice presidency, particularly the executive vice presidency, my role and my priority will be to go off and support my president. As you walk around campus, you see our posters, and the 3 keywords that we decided to go with was leadership, experience, and integrity. Leadership. We go off and we're willing to go off and talk about, not only talk about, but also be it. I see it. Oh, I see hands in the back. Sorry. Okay. I go off and we're willing to go off and not just talk about some of these hot topic issues, but we're willing to go off and take action on them and move forward with them. When it comes down to experience, both Tommy and myself have been in the student government, and all right, I'm going to go ahead and stop and wait for my minute if that's all right, because I have hands in the background. So, or can I go off and continue with my minute, or how do you? Huh?
That was the minute.
That was the minute.
He restarted it for you. That was your minute.
Oh, I thought we were sharing the 3 minutes, and then there was the extra minute we were coming back to.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, you didn't do it 3 minutes. Yeah, because I had a minute 40 on my clock.
Yeah.
Anarchy! Hey, it's cool.
Sorry, I
No.
apologize.
It was a misunderstanding on our end, yeah. So,
Because Mr. Ledesma only spoke for 1:30.
Okay.
Or a little over that, under that, sorry. I restarted when you came up.
Okay.
So he would have been underneath even the 2 minutes that were allotted.
okay, I was just under the understanding we were going to do 3 minutes jointly in general, and then we were going to come back and do a minute. I apologize.
Not to worry,
Yeah.
because the presidential candidates will, and their running mates will have the opportunity to speak more as we move
Yeah.
forward.
No, without a doubt. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Alex, would you like to speak for your minute?
Okay, so it was like Roxanne said, the girl can talk. She can speak for a while. And if you allow her to, she will continue. But that's why we all love her. So a big thing that we are actually trying to do is actually promote the community, really integrate our students into into the campus itself, one of the largest things that we've actually thought about putting together is more entertainment, more so than we have barbecues, because if you can recall throughout the semester, it seems to be that our finances are more strived towards barbecues and eating and such. So one thing that I have surveyed the students myself and have come to the conclusion that we do lack a lot of community spirit within our own campus. So a lot of things that have run through my head and actually I'm thinking about implicating into the school is
You still have 15 seconds.
okay, is really bringing entertainment to our school and really bringing in the students in order to promote that idea exactly is just having our students actually be part of the school and actually exemplify them out there and letting people know that we are part of the school, we are part of the community.
Finish it off. You're done.
We're actually advocating for change. It's your vote and it's your choice. Thanks.
All right. So we will now take questions. Does anybody have a question? For the entire, everybody. Any questions? What?
Usually they put the candidates in a certain position of the table and then.
What this is for, if there are questions for candidates who are running unopposed,
Should've
since
said
they
that.
will be participating in debate. So, who, I know, let's see, that's
Okay, so unopposed candidates are Veterans Affairs, Student Financial Services, Special Programs, Family and Consumer Sciences, let's see, Community Relations, Counseling Student Services, and then Executives, Communications, Activities, and that's it. Oh, Operations, I'm sorry. Kathy, I just totally ignore you. All right. So, are there questions for unopposed candidates as a whole or just?
make them job specific.
All right. Is there any questions for specific unopposed candidates? Yes, your question.
Well, just in general, how would they develop that position as a candidate? We've talked about what we would do to change.
James said no.
That should have been covered in their 2 minutes.
Oh, they already did that.
Yeah, so like a question specific to their function that they're running for, so we don't have to go through every single unopposed candidate to hear them out on a general topic.
Okay. Is there any questions for those candidates? You do? Okay, good, because I got one too. Oh, sorry.
All right, you've now entered the crucible phase of this forum. I am so excited. And so is she, I guess. Starting from the bottom, for the person running for, Mr. Tomlin, you're running for Student Financial Services. So over the last few years, there have been substantial legal and regulatory changes to financial aid that students have access to. More changes are on the way. The last few years have seen substantial changes to the way Pell Grants, student loans, the BOG fee waiver, how all of these function. So can you tell us what some of the concerns you have as a candidate are with how financial aid works in terms of access and also of quality of financial aid? Mm-hmm.
As you know, most students don't even understand what financial aid is or how they go by having financial aid be delivered to them. As Mr. Volvo has said that when it comes to Pell Grants, we just check a box. We don't realize what we're checking at the time. At the end of each financial aid statement, it tells you a percentage of what you have left, or how much schooling you've done as far as financial aid. Now, whether you look at that or not, or pay attention to it, it never faces a student. But it also tells a student this, that before graduation, a certain percentage of you will be graduating. A target date is what it gives you. So in that target date, it tells you, for myself, 16.7% of African males should be graduating when I graduate. That's not true at all. And that's just a target date. The success for every student, whether how much financial aid it comes into, relies on that student to become a successful student. Also, as financial aid, we as students need to be more responsible for our own financial aid. Because this, even though we have financial aid, and even though we come out and we go to the financial aid with appeals and things, we still have to be responsible for our own financial aid. We have to be responsible saying, okay, I know how much I've had, how much schooling I've done. Now, whether that schooling is because of the counseling, and that counseling has told you to take these classes, and you're not taking your regular classes, then that helps you, and that really bothers you. It makes it a difference. It really makes a difference when you have to finish school on a target date. The target date is for you to finish it, for you to have enough financial aid left so you can go to a four-year college. More questions?
Yeah, no, I have one.
You have one?
Yeah. All right. So my question's actually a little bit 3 in 1. One, I want to know, have you heard of the campaign called ICanAffordCollege.com? And if so, please do explain it. My other question is, can you please tell me what a Cal Grant is and what a Pell Grant is? And then my next question is, what does the Student Senate for California Community College do for financial aid, and how are you going to cooperate with them?
A Pell Grant is what every student is entitled to. All right, in Pell Grants, it says what you're entitled to. Cal Grants has 2 different stages: Cal Grant A, Cal Grant B. And in those Cal Grants, it tells you what students like that are on special in special programs, such as the ESOPS. Some disability students have those, can get those grants. But these other grants right here, the Pell Grants, every student is entitled to them. What's the other book?
What is ICanAffordCollege.com campaign?
ICanAffordCollege.com campaign is a campaign is every student is entitled to be able to stay in school. It is a financial program where we all should go on that website and check out and see how many other scholarships and programs it is to help us ensure us that we can be able to stay in school and help us with financial aid in school. Anything else you want to answer?
I wanted to know, what is the SSCCC and what do they do for student financial services, and how are you going to work with them to improve your position?
Okay. In order for me to help every student to be able to stay in school or keep their financial aid or keep financially stable, these other programs that we have here, I'm able to work with them. Whether I'm able to understand what these programs are better, I'm willing to learn. And in order for you to learn, in order for you to know, that we're going to make some mistakes. Going into a program like this, into a position like this, you're able to make a few mistakes. But it's my best knowledge to help the students' best interest at hand. So while I'm learning, I'm able to help the student at the same time.
Right. So the next unopposed candidate we have is for special programs. I don't think she's here, so we'll move on. And family and consumer science, and then we go to diversity. That's unopposed. Okay. So are there any questions for the diversity candidates? Because I know I got one. Yeah, me too.
I got one for everybody, just to let you guys know.
Ms. Figueroa, during your opening statement, you spoke of the importance of recognizing the unique situation of Hispanic students on campus. In the seat of Senator for Diversity, what would you do to ensure that the status of other protected groups, including LGBTQIA and African American students, can be protected as well?
Alright, so for these students, I would like to work with them, be involved with them either with clubs or just them in general, just being general students. They could just come to me, come with their concerns and help me understand how to help them and bring these ideas or whatever is necessary that they have, so I can help them. But in regards of African Americans, being involved in Black Student Union, I saw a lot of their struggles. A lot of racial profiling, police brutality, and the fact that when they come to school, right away they're stereotyped. He's just a gangbanger. All he wants is their financial aid money. I want to change that. I want to have them come to me, hey, this and that is going on, and I want to be their voice. If they get ignored, I'm gonna have them come with me and raise their voice along with them. And for the LGBTQ community, I'm not so aware with what they go through on campus, but I'm really open-minded to work with them. And that's what I have. Thank you.
All right, before I ask my questions, is there anybody else who wants to ask a question right now? Okay, John, go ahead.
My question is this. For the Hispanic Ed Conference and the African American Education Conference especially, when I took over the African Ed Conference, Modesto Junior College was going to let it just go after 22 years. So my question would be to you is, as for funding for like the Hispanic Ed Conference and the African American Conference, will these programs, will we be able to depend on you, for funding or for support?
Yes, okay. So one thing that I am planning as I become senator, I want to start on that paperwork ASAP. I don't want to wait just like, I'm going to procrastinate. No, I'm going to do it ASAP. And I know how much this is important because it's also for high school students. It's not just us. It's also for high school students who are coming, beginners for the college. And the fact that I was involved in the Hispanic Ed Conference, the fact that me as a co-chair of MECHA, we had a workshop. And I saw how these high school students, they were amazed. They were happy to come. They usually feel left out. And when they came to our MECHA workshop, they saw that they do have a future here. And I see the importance of how these conferences change their lives. It motivates them to come to school, to come to college, and continuing their education. So that's something that I am going to bring for sure, because that's my priority.
All right, promise, last one for you, okay? It's actually a combination. I'm so sorry. All right, I would like to know what your basically thought of what is cultural competency to you, and how are you going to apply cultural competency to Modesto Junior College? And I'd also like to know if you know the 5 caucuses for the Student Senate for California Community Colleges, because that is a very diverse.
So for the cultural one, I am planning to bring a lot of workshops here, and one of them is being indigenous. So we don't focus a lot on indigenous culture. We also, just ignore them, pretty much ignoring our roots. So that's something I would like to bring. But like I said, I'm open-minded. I'm fairly new, but then I know a lot of other stuff. So as I'm going through that, I would like to have other students also come to me with that. Yeah, okay. So with the cultural, the Senate, was it? The triple?
Student Senate for California Community Colleges.
So I know there's the Black Caucus, the Latino Caucus, the LGBTQ Caucus. And to be honest, I only know those 3. Okay. Yeah, well, thank you.
All right, so community relations, are you in the room? No. All right, behavioral and social, business, behavioral, and social sciences, sorry. All right, does anybody have any questions for business, behavioral, and social sciences? Yes, no, maybe, okay, no. All right, arts, humanities, and communications, are there any questions? Yes, I see it.
It's opposed.
Huh?
This is opposed because both candidates are here.
Yeah.
Right. So for the candidates for AHC, come have a seat and we'll have a little chat.
Chitty chat.
So the way this will work is I will ask I don't have specific questions for each of you in this circumstance, but I'll ask a couple general questions, and the way we'll do the responses is that I'll alternate. So the first question will be answered by Ms. Zuniga, because alphabetically her name is earlier. Then we'll go to Ms. Tengaluk for a response, and then what we'll do is for the second question, we'll reverse that order. Okay? So the first question I'll ask for both of you is, how many performances of MJC music, theater, or speech have you been to Or how many art gallery shows have you been to?
So as far as art gallery shows that I've been to 2. And I've been to 1 speech night, and I have been to the MJC faculty recital. But does it count if I'll be performing in one? Okay, and I'll be performing in the one on April 20th, put on by Symphonic Band, and I'll also be at graduation. So that's all I got.
Ms. Tangela, your turn.
Okay, so I've been in a couple last semester, this semester, and I've been on off-campus art galleries like downtown Modesto, and I've worked with them with ideas on how we can incorporate their displays with ours. So I'm working with them like on my own personal basis. So. And I've also attempted. What? Oh yeah. So I attended the gala. I'm gonna spin up the gala. I've attended the art gallery right here when they have like shows to go in. I've attended Romeo and Juliet, Our Town, a bunch of others. Oh, Frankenstein, and a bunch of others. But that's all I can remember. Was there a second part to that question? Was that it?
No, that was it.
On the speech night at Enoch's, I've been there. I was a judge, just let you know.
Are there any other questions? Okay, my question. All right. I'm sorry. All right, my question is, do you know who the dean is, and if so, who is it, and how are you going to work with the deans to help students in that department?
Can I go first?
Yes, you are first.
Dean Michael Sandquist, and I'm working with him like right now on my own, like because I'm majoring in communication studies, and yeah, we're on like a more like personal, not personal, but like I see him for advice for my major, so I know him.
Okay, up until today, no, I did not know who he was. And I guess I would just start by introducing myself and finding out what everybody needs, first of all, and then preparing a plan and presenting it to them and find out what we can do from there.
Do you have a question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last question.
So, students who are majoring in arts, humanities, and communication face actually a much more robust course load than many other students. They have higher demands within their disciplines to be able to graduate or to transfer with an AAT. So what can we do, or what would you do as senator, to try to make sure that students are well aware and well advised of their options so that they can get what they need and complete in a timely manner? Starting with Ms. Zuniga. That, you know what? Honesty is better than pulling something out of a hat, which some people are guilty of.
Ms. Tangela.
So a personal experience is that I'm majoring in communication studies, and a lot of students need help with preparing speeches and addressing them. And right now, currently, there are only 2 speech tutors at MJC Library, and I feel like that's not enough it's not enough. Like, students have a limited time to get there and like help with paper, like the essay part, speaking, and like delivering, and all these anxiety stuff that come with it. I feel like there should be more tutoring and more like availability hours from the staff to help them out during probably after hours, not after hours, but I know there's a required 5-hour office hours per week for staff. I feel like that should be increased so that way students could be more paid attention to and addressed with their concerns and questions or whatever they have. So that's my point.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? Hearing none, you guys, oh.
I have a question. So, would you consider doubling the office hours or even making it longer than that when it comes to certain senators or and the executives?
No, I mean, I was referring to the faculty and staff, like their office hours.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so they can be more of aid to students who need them. Because I know schedules conflict, and you might have class and they have office hours, so it's going to be harder for you to see them because you have class. So I just want to be able to make it more flexible and more available to students.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I just have a reminder, we need to respect the time that we need to leave this room. We can,
I was actually just going to get to that now that we're getting to the executive candidates.
Okay.
So now that we've finished with the senators, for those of us who are execs, because we actually only have this room until negative 40 minutes ago, what we're going to do is we're going to move this. Actually, we could move it into the cafeteria because it's always open.
Yeah, okay.
So
I'm
what
gonna
we'll do
take
is
this
we'll
with me.
take a break. We'll move us to the cafeteria or to the office, where we will then continue. So concerns about us being in this space past our reserved time won't be a problem. And so Leticia doesn't have a panic attack.
All right, so we're taking the break now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a break.
We are taking a break. We will be meeting in the cafeteria.
Hello, can everyone hear me? All right, awesome. We're going to go straight to presidential candidates, and then we're going to go to executives, just because some of the presidential candidates have to leave pretty soon. So if you guys can gather everybody who was there inside of here, that would be totes of doors. Thank you. And I have all presidential candidates sitting right here as in presidents. So that means Kyle, Roxanne, and Tommy Ledesma. Tommy is not here. Okay.
We can rearrange the table.
I think the camera should be charged now. No?
Yeah, but
Yeah, we'll be fine, we'll be good. All right. So we have our.
It's still
two
recording
out of
now?
our three presidential
I guess so.
I'll just take this
candidates.
off, just in case someone trips over the wire.
No,
God forbid.
if they can reach that far.
It can.
All right,
So we have 2 out of 3 of our presidential candidates. Are there any questions for these presidential? Okay. Okay.
And I may ask questions.
Okay. All right. So each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to each and every question. We're going to do questions on individual candidates right now, and I know that James has a question.
Okay, so starting with Mr. Brown, who is alphabetically first. So first off, I want to say that it's noteworthy that each of the 3 presidential candidates, of whom we have 2 here, each of them have prior service at ASMJC, and these 2 specifically have prior service even before this year. Last year, Mr. Brown, you were a senator, and Ms. Weaver, you were an appointee for vice president for legislation. So I want to thank you both for your service in that respect, and now I stop being nice, because now I start grilling you both. So Mr. Brown, to start, this year, you held the office of vice president for activities. As such, you were the coordinating point person for all ASMJC events. So this year was the first time that we did not have a Halloween carnival. So could you please tell us why, in light of this not happening this last year, why you feel that students should give you a vote to coordinate all of ASMJC in light of the carnival not taking place?
Thank you, James. So in light of that question, to be brutally honest with everyone, taking upon a new office, I didn't exactly have the same confidence I do now. I didn't have the exact skills that I built up over the time. And during the Harvest Carnival, personal issues aside, it was just something that I unfortunately didn't dedicate enough of my time to, and that is the reason that it was not put forth by my team. It's something I've taken upon myself to be accountable for, and it's something I look to amend and actually amplify in the future. The fact that I missed it once, I won't miss it again. I've learned from this, and this will help me with every other event I happen to do for the rest of my term and possibly do as a president. Thank you. Follow-up question.
So during your time as Vice President for Activities, you were not alone. You have a committee, which you chair, the Activities Committee, And you also had numerous individuals in student government and in clubs who could have assisted in the coordination and execution of this event. As president, part of your responsibility is to coordinate the activities of the entire student senate. So could you tell us why it was that you did not rely on this information bank that you had at your disposal, and whether or not the students can expect more of the same in the following term?
Yes. Thank you again, James. So to answer that question, my level of delegational skills has definitely improved since the prior events that have been mentioned. I know now that I cannot take the I can take the responsibility wholly on myself, but I cannot do the job by myself. And as the Vice President of Activities, I've learned to utilize my team better, to have better communication, to say, hey, I need help with this, instead of taking it upon myself to do everything. Now, this skill that I've learned from that, I'm able to put into use as the president, to delegate, to build teamwork. Now that I know that it's not just me doing the work, and I've overcome that feeling that I have emphasized by my lack of teamwork, I know now that teamwork is essential, communication is essential, and to move forward, I need to be able to delegate, oversee, and cooperate with everyone that I work with, everyone that will be providing to me, and I will be providing to them.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
You got off easy somehow. The next set of questions will be for Ms. Weaver. Ms. Weaver.
Yes, James.
There are many inside and outside of student government who would describe this administration's track record as problematic. As Executive Vice President, part of your responsibility is to assist the President in the execution of his duties. So could you please inform us how, in that capacity, with so many failures from the Senate and the executive team overall, you feel that you would do a better job in the President's seat?
Thank you, James. That was a great question. You know, part of being a team is to respect that person who is in that leadership position. And you've heard the term, the buck stops with me. Well, it didn't stop with me. It stopped with the current president, who is now running for executive vice president. And so when you offer your assistance, or you offer process, or offer help to someone, you can offer that, but you can't demand it. And so I offered it. It was not utilized. It was not taken. And so I continue to be a support to those senators and vice presidents that were around me, assisted with clubs, getting their paperwork together. Strategic planning was not a part of this administration, which for me would be a part of the administration from the very beginning, to set goals based on our bylaws, where the positions are outlined. I felt that was very important. I also really want to make sure that we respect our bylaws, and that is our governing document. Thank you. I didn't know we were timed.
Yeah, just as a reminder, you have 1 minute for your responses.
Thank you.
Um,
Now I know.
Sorry about that. As a follow-up question.
Yes.
So knowing that you were able to, that you attempted to move around the president to try to give what support you could over this last term, that said, how do we speak to the successive failures or lapses in the administration since then, even with these options?
Well, I go back to our Constitution and bylaws. I know my position says that I have specific duties that are required of me, so I worked, that was my goal, is to fulfill those. Whether someone appreciates that or not, that was totally on a personal level up to that person. As far as interviewing, as far as applications and recruiting for open positions, all of the things that I felt were really, really important to uphold based on our bylaws, those things I did fulfill. And again, I offered my assistance. Whether that was taken or not, That was totally up to the president to decide. He decided not to. He utilized other avenues, but I didn't stop with my duties based on the bylaws. I continue to uphold my position in a respectful way. I didn't get disrespectful towards the president. I upheld based on what the bylaws said for me to do, and as well as I could do. There were some things that were out of my hands.
All right, so I have a question, then Advisor Griffin has a question. So mine's kind of a follow-up question. You say that you want to follow Constitution and bylaws and that you want to uphold to it, but how are you upholding the administration that you help govern now? And how do you plan to do that in the future if you are president?
Actually, that's for both of you.
Okay, both of you. Do you want to go first?
Okay. Sorry, can you repeat the question? Because I'm trying to figure out who it was for.
Yeah, I'm going to have Roxanne go first, but just to repeat the question, it was stated that you want to follow the Constitution and bylaws of the Student Senate, and you also want to follow policy. But if you can't even do that now during this term that you guys are in office, how do you expect to do it if you become president?
Well, I continually advocated for it and used the bylaws to whenever I felt something was outside those realms. Again, utilizing that in my position was all I could do. The buck didn't stop with me. We had a president of this administration that I think disregarded the bylaws and the Constitution and really sometimes set it aside for personal interactions that I didn't agree with. I disagreed with them. That's why I'm running for president. I've observed, I've learned, and I've said to myself, okay, I'm second in command and that doesn't work. I'm ready to step up as president and really take this document, this governing document, and utilize it the way it should be a participatory government. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. So the question is with the bylaws and policies and how we're going to implement them in our presidential seats, correct?
No, when they're a failure now.
So the way I see it is the way the bylaws and the policies have been used throughout this term have been used more of handcuffs, holding us back from cooperating together, from fulfilling our positions, from really making this, as Ms. Weaver said, participatory governance an actual successful event and an actual successful organization. The way I intend to use these policies and procedures is to use it as, instead of a restriction to how we do things, use it as a doorway to open up, allowing to be a better team, allowing us to recognize what our jobs are, and to, as the president, to delegate specifically to that job and not to say, oh, this is your job, but I'm gonna have someone else do it. It's for us to work on together, to build, to work on your section, and for you guys to make sure that you can check me and I can check you, and we can work as a team to make sure everything is going smoothly instead of trying to hold each other back constantly by using these documents.
Sorry guys, but I have a follow-up. All right. You two both said participatory governance. That's beautiful, but to most people, they don't know what participatory governance is. Can you please explain what it is and what 9+1 is?
Well, personally, I do not know what 9+1 is, and I apologize for that, but I'll take that as a learning experience, as I have with everything else, to move forward and to develop my skills as a president, provide that back to you, and when I have an answer, I hopefully will be the president giving it to you. Now, participatory governance is how we work on campus with the administration and providing the students' voices, as with our committees, our college-wide councils, and getting people involved in being the voice of the students, saying that we're here for you to come join us, to come work together, to come help us and improve our council and our school as a whole. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I appreciate Speaker Reed's insight into an area. I work in specific areas that she would not have knowledge in, and I do not know what 9+1 is. But There's a lot of terms and things that I don't know, but one thing I do know is I know how to do research. And every one of you that know me, you know I know how to look things up, I know how to get it together, and I know how to present it in a way that's clear for all students. Participatory government is really important because the funds that come from students, this is a public institution, needs to go back to the students. And how we govern is based on representation, based on elections. So what I love about participatory government is it's based on Robert's Rules of Order, where the majority keeps the business going for students, but the minority always has a voice. They always have the opportunity to disagree and have a platform and a place in a respectful way to have that done. Again, it's for the students, by the students. That is our mission statement, and I believe participatory government is the place to have those debates, the place to bring those up, and I will never ignore AIRs. I will make sure that they are addressed, and questions in the Senate that are brought up, that they are brought back to the next Senate and they're addressed. That's participatory government, where we don't ignore the students. We give them the opportunity to have their voice heard in our government, then be utilized in other higher areas. I want to represent, I sit on the college council right now. I was the only student to represent in a very important meeting with many deans, and I remember thinking that responsibility was so important and it weighed heavy on me. Thank you.
So just to clarify,
You guys are killing me.
9+1
Thank
is a layout in the California Code of Regulations, which, as we all know, regulations carry the force and effect of law. But these are specific areas, 9 areas, in which students, by law, are guaranteed the right to input, and that input must have an opportunity to be presented before anything moves on. And this set of rights includes things from professional evaluation of teachers, curriculum development, facilities planning, budget processes, and the +1 is anything that has or will have a significant effect on students. And these are all areas where we are guaranteed legal consultation. And the California Community College system, by the way, is unique in that respect because we are the only segment in the world that actually has gone to the trouble of writing into regulation that students have a right to say not merely how their own government functions, but how the campus and the system that they attend functions. And so that, as far as California is concerned, is the real function of student government, that you are the voice of students at these functions. And it means more than simply having a body in the chair. It means that you actually send students who have a bit of input that can contribute to the discussions. For example, if we send a student to the curriculum committee who doesn't understand the process, it can be difficult. So we'll move now to the debates. This is going to be fun. For me. Maybe for onlookers. So the first topic...
Did he have a question?
Yeah, we had tons of questions.
Okay.
I advise the advisor to wait till after the debate to ask his question. Love you. Just kidding. There will be questions, yes.
Oh, dang. Look at that. They're getting excited.
Okay. We will get some more questions from everyone else. I just want to have a direct, an oppositional kind of debate. So I'll start with an easy one. Over the last year, student participation. Student participation in college-wide committees and governing groups has fallen to the lowest it's been in 4 years. And there is an old saying, if you're not at the table, you are on the menu. So in light of the changes that are coming to our campus, along with record low student participation in these processes, what will you do as president to make sure that student voices and qualified student voices are always present, always participating, and always reporting back not merely to the government, but to the other 24,000 students of our campus? And we will start with, who asked the first one last time? Then we'll start with Mr. Brown, and you can just stay where you are. The mic will pick you up, so it'll be 1 minute response each.
All right, well, thank you, James. So to To answer the question here, the concern is having qualified students being on the student councils in which students have a seat to represent all 23,800 or so students here at MJC. First off, let's find out the 30 or so councils that there is, find out who we can put on it within student government, find our interested students, our students at large, our club members who can get educated and put them into use, and use our whole force, not just the 26 students who have a title, but those that are here that want to learn more, that want to help, that want to get involved, that want to make a difference, and implement them into the seats that they can be upon, whether they have to go through a certain amount of training to do so, or whether they can work closely with the people that are already on the board and that they can learn from them, or that we can teach them as presidential candidates and as hopefully presidents, whoever may win, and allow them to be more educated in this way. Reporting back to us to get it back out to the students would be with events time, and our live streaming would definitely help with that as well. Thank you.
Well, I think it's important to utilize skills and abilities of the officers. I mean, that was never even brought up. I think our executive team is very important to come together and decide how we can work as a team, because obviously if a person is not able to be at that committee meeting, we need to have more than one person, because if it doesn't happen, those students aren't representative. I think like you said, utilizing mentors on those committees, senators meet with the deans to understand their area that they're going to be representing. Well, why not a mentor on one of these committees? What a leadership opportunity for those students who want to step out in leadership to gain from that relationship. I think there's a lot of things that didn't happen this year, and I think there's a lot of things that can change next year, and that's why I believe I am the person to do that. You know, I've been an encouragement to you as a vice president to set goals, to reach those goals. I think I could do that on a bigger level.
Awesome, thank you. And that was your time. All right, so you both in that speech somehow got student success in there, and student success right now is a crucial thing happening to all 113 community colleges in the state of California. One's being ratified. Well, we're counting them as 113. So my question is, do you guys know what the student equity plan is? Have you guys sat on it? How much money was allocated to the school for that? Because from my understanding, the student government this year did not put anybody on that committee, and actually a professor asked me to go on that committee because I am the chair of the Equity and Diversity Committee at the state level. So my question is, if I as a normal student know about it, and if you don't know about it, why don't you know about it? Yeah, I'm really asking that question. Is it valid?
All right, well, once again, a learning experience for me. I know Asia does sit on this, does go to equity conferences and does represent the students on her being the chair of the equity division of the SSCCC. I assume equity means equality and figuring out what's best for students. I personally don't know, but it's something that I'm willing to learn, something I'm willing to produce back to you guys, and if I can learn it together with you, it'll make our bond even stronger in that case, and that's what I have.
I think equity is really important. I sit on the College Council, and the Student Success Initiative and the Student Equity Council right now are working hand in hand. I see the Student Success Initiative as the educational pathways. They need to be clear. If you look at STEM degrees, they're doing great in their math area, but English, the remedial is huge. You look at non-STEM, you flip that. They're doing wonderful in the behavioral English, but their math, going to statistics, is terrible. Student equity says along the way, those students need support. They need support services. They need tutoring. I take the ESL community on our campus right now, and their student success ladder that they have to climb is humongous. And I ask the question is, on those steps, what are we doing to help and support students? That's what student equity is.
Thank you. Questions from the public, quickly, because one of our candidates has to leave. Valid questions. Oh, we did say the advisor would be able to. I'm sorry. John, go ahead. What's your question? I can repeat it for you.
Ask for what you want.
20 what?
Ask. Okay, the question is, this is kind of the elephant in the room. My question is
Roxanne, you are first. Go.
I think I've stated this with the bylaws. It can't be personal. It has to be based on a framework and a foundation that gives every student a voice, whether I agree or disagree. I think I represented that during some very heated debates that were going on in the ICC. Minority today, I may be in the majority today, but tomorrow I may be in the minority. How we go about that is respect. It is creating an atmosphere of mutual respect, bringing in leadership, bringing in workshops that talk about how we present things. And when things fail, and they fail, especially if we're going to be creative, we hope that people are taking risk on the behalf of students in the sense of creating new innovative things, that we understand that that's part of the process. We're not going to judge people. We're going to support people. And I think I've shown myself in many of the meetings to ask the hard questions, but always be respectful and remind you that kindness isn't weakness. And I will always really require that kind of mutual respect.
Thank you. That's actually all the time we have for the presidential candidates. Oh, I'm sorry. I totally forgot about you. Go ahead,
Thank you, Ms. Reed. For conflict resolution, I think the simplest thing is taking what's behind closed doors and putting it out into the open to work as a team, to put it in a positive light and say, let's not talk about this behind our backs, but let's work together. Let's build each other up instead of tear each other down constantly. If we have something that needs to be handled, present it in a positive manner and present it in the way that we can progress from it, not just tear our teams apart. You know, we mentor each other, we work together, we learn together, and if we can't get past the simple fact of talking to each other, we have no right to be leaders. So the best thing to do is to put it out there and say, let's handle this now so it doesn't affect the people that we're trying to lead. If we can't work together, what's our point of being here? And the simple fact that conflict resolution happens when you're willing to resolve it. So it starts with you and it works its way out into the team, and from there it works its way to the students. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so that's all the time we have for the presidential candidates. I'm so sorry, but thank you, you guys.
Thank you both so much for your time being here. Roxanne, handshake, handshake,
Thank you.
handshake.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Alicia.
And after those wonderful questions, I'm formally declaring a coup and installing myself as Student Emperor James I. Just kidding. It'll be on your desk. Okay, so moving right along, because we are in a miniature power crisis. If I could have the candidates for Vice President for Legislation to the table, please.
Yeah, speakers.
Who gave you sugar?
I had a lot of today.
Mr. Andrews.
So, Messrs. Laughlin and Andrews, as previous, the first question will go to Mr. Andrews and then to you.
Discrimination.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that both of your last names are Scottish anyway, so it doesn't really matter. My question will be a general question for both of you. I was actually the first Vice President for Legislation that ASMJC had. Okay. And I know better than anyone what a powerhouse is needed to manage that position, because it is the point person for all matters policy, be it internal, external, local, or external at state, or even federal. So if I could ask, with 1 minute each for both of you, what are some of the biggest policy concerns that you have, and how will you, the biggest policy concerns you feel that are important to students, and how will you go about addressing those if elected? And Mr. Andrew.
Do you mean on a national basis, or?
I mean national, state, local, or internal.
Okay.
Whichever you like.
Now, does that mean just at our college or in college?
That applies to the students that you represent, so that would impact students here.
There are a lot of things that the students are going to have to face. Now, personally, I haven't heard anything, but I know that there is a lot of things that are going to be coming up. I know that a lot of the UCs are facing tuition hikes, but who's to say that we may not, as a junior college, end up facing tuition hikes, which people cannot afford. The prices of books, too high, they need to come down. Is that something that is along that lines? I don't know. But we need to address the fact that there are things within our student senate that needs to be addressed. There's policies that need to be addressed. What they are specifically, I don't know, unfortunately.
When it comes to the nation in terms of policy, I know one big one that would be a concern to a majority of junior college students. That would be, number one, our president, Barack Obama, has proposed for free tuition for junior colleges. And I could imagine that is a huge concern, especially for junior college students, because I think we would all agree that we would like it to be either cheaper, if not free. One thing that my opponent has addressed as well is the UC tuition hikes, which I think would scare a lot of transfer students. Tuition has increased by half in the last 10 years for UC systems, which is a sad but reality. It's already too expensive as it is. So when it comes to those policies, I would love to address the students' issues when it comes to that and represent them the best way I can, because college should be cheaper, if not free, especially on the junior college basis.
That's a follow-up question, since the matter of tuition was raised. Are you aware that California resident students do not pay tuition in community colleges?
Is that a follow-up?
That's a follow-up for both of you. And so, in light of the fact that we don't pay tuition, what are cost-saving measures that you would like to see that enable students to have better access to higher education? Because to clarify, we don't pay tuition, we pay a registration fee. You only pay tuition if you're not a resident.
Me first? Okay. I know that there are the out-of-state registration fees, but one thing I would definitely like to see is, for those that don't qualify for the BOG waiver, possibly if there's ways that if they could be employed on campus, to be able to use that towards paying their fees, since if they're not working right up front, they might be able to find a way to work it off and not have to pay their fees up front. Same thing with their books. It might be a way to help bring that down without actually having to impact their immediate financial status.
For some students, tuition is not always free, and part of it is paid, if not most of it, for a lot of students. But they do have to pay for parking passes and other student fees like the health fee, and they do have to pay for books, which are quite pricey, especially when it comes to math and other sciences as well. So they do pay a lot. I believe that, from my own experience, that students do pay a lot out of pocket, even though they may not have to pay for tuition.
Okay. Now changing course, and we'll reverse the order, so you will answer first this time. California Community Colleges has a statewide level organization, which Speaker Reed has referred to several times, the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. In the past, ASMJC has been very active in this organization until this year, providing people who have even helped write the language of state laws, myself included. So, since over the last year, MJC's participation and engagement at state level politics has generally fallen by the wayside, would you be interested in renewing that participation? And if so, how will you go about doing that? Mr. Laughlin.
One of the biggest things that I'm running on is student representation. So when it comes to any connections we have, especially with the student, the Student Senate and the SCCC, I believe that we should renew that relationship. And that, like I said, I believe that every student, and I believe I can do it, it needs to be represented. And I will represent every student. So when it comes to renewing relationships with the SCCC, I will do that. And I will work to the benefit of the students and not to myself.
The SSCCC is a statewide organization, and it is definitely one that we need to have a greater presence in, and also renew that legislative presence. The students, as Mr. Laughlin said, need to be represented greater, and our presence in the SSCCC has not been as large as it once was, or in the policy making, bill writing, stuff like that. We have not had that great of a presence, but we need to step it up. I have no problem stepping into that seat, bringing people with me, making sure that it's not just me, but I will invite anybody along who wishes to work with me, and we will step up and move forward to put our face back into the SSCCC, into Region 9, and to make Region 5, sorry, my apologies. My apologies. Region 5, that was a Freudian slip. But definitely make sure that MJC is not left by the wayside.
Thank you. Who else? Who went first last time?
He did.
Okay.
Jason.
Yeah.
All right, so my next question will be, what does Title V actually allow and kind of mandate the student senates to do?
Title
Or, wait, are you
V.
first, or?
I believe I am first. Is that,
Oh.
well, I think it's a clear indication that he wants me to go first. But
No.
the Title V gives the students the right to, for participatory governance. And again, that's representation and getting involved. It was later brought to my attention that every student, last year was our largest election, and only 2% of the population, when it comes to the students, actually voted in it. And that's a sad reality, another one. So not only should we get involved, we should step up and start serving our other students. So Title V, like I said, gives students the right on participatory governance and is the voice of the students.
All right, go ahead and start, Mr. Andrews.
Okay. As he said, it is for the participatory governance, but, we do need to make sure that we have a lot more people than the, just about 1,100 we had come out of the 24,000 that we had. It was a great thing, but why not shoot for, 10,000? What would it be like if we were to have the whole college voting for that? We need to be able to find a way to be able to make sure that they know their right to vote. Everybody here has a right to vote. That's not taken away. If you're a student, you vote.
Right, and pause. All right, so follow-up question to that. Since you two basically just said it kind of deals with participatory governance, which participatory governance committees would you like to be involved in?
I'm running on the sole basis that the students need to be represented. The reason I want to be a student rep for accreditation is because the last few years MJC has had their accreditation questioned, which is kind of crazy. And I care for the students here, and I want to make sure that their degrees stay accredited. I would also like to be a student rep for the college council, because that committee informs the member about basically everything that goes on around the campus. And I think that can relate to the information as well as students. I believe that the students need a voice, they need to be represented, and that is not here today. If elected, I will be that voice.
Go ahead, Mr. Andrews.
Okay, currently, right now, I do sit on the Facilities Council, but, regardless of what happens, I will sit anywhere that I am needed, whatever councils require my need, or, wherever I can be, that I can make an impact for the students, is where I would sit, whether it be resource allocation, whether it be accreditation, whether it be college council, whether it be facilities, whatever it may be, I want to be there.
Okay. Thank you. James just told me I can't ask one more question because we have to bring finance up.
And she's been waiting so patiently.
Yay! Thank you.
So thank you to both of the candidates for your responses. Mr. Laughlin, Mr. Andrews, I declare myself the winner of this debate. All right, Ms. Wilbers, candidate for Vice President for Finance. I'm going to empty chair Mr. Razzo as he had to leave, but there are important questions that need to be asked about finances because you, as the Chancellor of the Vice President for Finance, will be responsible for putting forward and implementing a budget. So, hi.
Hello, James, my dear.
My first question will be, what is your opinion of the state of ASMJC's finances, and what will you do to make sure that students get more bang for their buck?
The state of our finances, monetarily speaking, we have quite a bit of finances available to us. How we spend it is another thing. We are restricted on some level as to what we could spend. But my goal would basically be transparency and accountability, to have a budget made at the beginning of the fiscal year, and to actually plan our events out, and and keep everything accountable. Have clubs. I want clubs to have their accounts. I don't want there to be dipping into reserves every time we need to. There should be a plan of action. And so basically that's going to have to take work with the business office and with our advisors and deans to see what we can do.
I am so glad that you mentioned the business office and administration, who have historically been collectively the biggest impediments to student access to finances. So if elected, what will you do to try to ensure that there is more accountability, more forthrightness from these institutions, and how will students be able to, how can you improve the relationship and the efficiency with which students are able to access their funds?
Okay, well, when we had our new accounting manual made up by the business office, myself and Mr. Campbell were in attendance with the business office, and we were a part of that team. And I actually have here Gray Ghost, who is our business office personal line, or his line to his office he gave to me, because I will have to work with him to develop, there are amendments that we need to make to the accounting manual. We're aware of that. But I will work with them, and I've also talked with people at the district office, and to try to get things streamlined. We would really like to push online, getting our documents to be digital, but we have to wait for the district to catch up. But I'm definitely on board with talking with them and working things out, all for the students, of course. Okay.
This is so fast because we don't have the opponent here. Are there any questions from anyone in attendance that they'd like to ask of the Vice President for Finance candidate? Or I'll just keep, going Patriot Act on her. All right, so to follow up, this year, at the end of last fiscal year, ASMJC passed a budget, and it was revised as one of the first acts of the new Parliament. First acts of the new Senate. Oops. Somehow, ASMJC has managed to spend itself into a deficit for this term, and yet students have not really seen much of that money coming their way. How can we make sure that when expenditures happen, that they benefit the majority of students, not merely the few?
I think first and foremost that will be planning, efficient planning. When you do things like schedule fall festivals with a budget of $10,000 and you only have 20 people show up to it, that's irresponsible spending and planning. I will not be in favor of having things like that happen. I think the whole process of student government is supposed to be a learning experience for everyone, and that includes the finances of it. And just because we do have a lot of revenues coming in does not mean we need to spend irresponsibly. We don't need to spend $20,000 on, what I've seen so far is students in the student government they're not spending money realistically like in the real world. In the real world, you're not going to go spend $20,000 on a little event and then just call it a wash just because you didn't plan effectively. So, yes.
And, Mr. Laughlin, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. You're running for Vice President of
Finance.
Correct. So you want to spend more responsibly, which I testimony, that's what's needed. So would you recommend using a lot of money to advertise more, get more students involved, and with this saving money that you hope to save, what do you kind of do with it afterwards? Would you go to certain Hispanic groups, Black groups, lesbian groups, or anything you want to go?
To answer that effectively, I would really, since I'm not Vice President of Finance, I haven't had a chance to look at the books and see where the money is exactly. I do have some idea because of my past experience and positions within the student government. But what I do know is that I wouldn't have us in a deficit. That should not happen. Knowing the funds that we do have coming in, this is actually the first I've heard of it because I'm not a member of the government right now, but I find that to be a little bit ridiculous that we're in a deficit because we do have a large amount of money. It just isn't, it needs to be planned better. So I don't know where that money's going to go. And But I do know we're just not going to spend irresponsibly.
So, just to ask this question, to follow up, since, to clarify, we have a deficit in several line items in Fund 71, but we've touched almost no spending in Fund 72, which is the student rep fee, and Fund 73, which is the student center fee. So, when students pay their fees, wouldn't you agree that when they pay their activities fee, their student rep fee, and their student center fee, that they should be able to expect something back?
Right.
While they're here?
Exactly.
And the fact that we have several $1 million in reserves in total means that we actually do have some flexibility in terms of large-scale investments or capital outlays. So can you think of any large spending projects that you would like to implement that would benefit the majority of students?
I can. Let me elaborate. First, I would like to touch on the West Campus, the MSR, and the area around the MSR building. It is currently dirt, and more dirt, and there is no shade for anybody to sit. So I think that would be one project that we could look at, and putting some kind of, I don't know, artificial turf, but some kind of pergola or awning or shade structure. Another is, see, we do have three funds, Fund 71, 72, and 73. 73 is mostly a restricted fund because it is for the student center fund, which means this building right here. What I would do is, first of all, update the bathrooms here in the student center, because I don't know if any of you use the restrooms in this building, but they're as outdated as they get.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wilbers. We are actually less than 2 minutes of battery life on our camcorder, and our advisor has to leave as well. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for participating.
Vote for Allison.
Yes, I will give you as much time as I can, which will be about 1 minute, I'm afraid. But this is Mr. Alvarez. He was not able to be here at the beginning, so he gets to speak at the end. And go. You don't want to cut off mid-sentence.
Hi, my name is Jose Alvarez, current Senator Diversity here at ASMJC, and I'm running for re-election against Lorenzo Figueroa. And I'd just like to say that in supporting the diversity here on campus, that I will continue to do the best that I possibly can to my abilities to make sure that we instill diversity here for as long as this institution exists. And yes, that's pretty much all I'd like to say. Just, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. All right, now, as I was thanking everyone, thank you all. Thank you to our advisor for your patience, and thank you all for attending who are not running, like all three of you, as well as people that were here.